Chapo is locked up for life at the Supermax prison in Colorado, and in a letter from behind bars, the billionaire drug lord seems irked about the lack of freedom being afforded to him by the Bureau of Prisons.
ADX Florence was created after severe incidents occurred at other federal prisons. For instance, at Marion U.S. Penitentiary in 1983, there were 2 violent incidents where correction officers were stabbed to death. As a result of such ruthless prisoner attacks came the necessity for higher-level security prisons. Some of the most dangerous and notable criminals in the United States have been incarcerated at ADX Florence. The prison holds criminal leaders of a variety of violent gangs, along with domestic and international terrorists from major organizations like Al-Qaeda. Zacarias Moussaoui, who happens to be the only person convicted in a civilian court for the terrorist attacks on 9/11, is currently at ADX Florence. Jahar Sarnaev, who was partially responsible for the Boston Marathon bombings, was transferred to this prison in July 2015. There are other notable criminals housed there, such as the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, shoe bomber Richard Reed, Oklahoma City bomber accomplice Terry Nichols, Olympic Park bomber Eric Rudolph, Soviet spy Robert Hansen, and Joaquin Archibaldo Guzman Lara, or better known as El Chapo, one of Mexico's most notorious drug lord. They were just a few examples of the more than 300 inmates ADX Florence holds. But how did El Chapo ended up in such place? Guzman had been arrested a total of 3 times throughout his life. Starting with June 9, 1993, when the drug lord was charged with murder and drug trafficking and sentenced to 20 years in a Mexican prison. He didn't stay for too long. On January 19, 2001, he got himself a free card out of prison. With the help of a prison guard, Francisco El Chito Camberos Rivera, Guzman escaped in a laundry cart. You might ask, why was it this easy? El Chapo had the whole prison on his payroll, including all prison guards and even high-ranking prison executives. He basically owned the facility. He was on the run for over 13 years. After a very long manhunt, lasting over a decade, El Chapo was finally behind bars, once again. Though he wasn't planning to stay too long this time either. On July 11, 2015, he escaped once again with an escape only seen in movies before. He had his men dig a 1.5 kilometers long tunnel from a construction site to his shower area. The tunnel was 1.7 meters tall with artificial lights, aircuts and high-quality materials. Authorities even found a motorcycle inside, which was supposedly there for transporting materials and probably Guzman himself on the day of escape. The drug lord was on the run for only a year before he got caught again, and probably for the last time. The DEA fought for Guzman's extradition to the United States, in which they succeed. El Chapo was extradited to the U.S. on January 19, 2017 and was taken to ADX Florence on several charges. In the beginning of 2023, the Sinaloa cartel's founder has appealed to President Andrés Manuel López Obrador for help due to alleged psychological torment that Guzman says he is suffering in a U.S. prison. We're going to review it, López Obrador told reporters. It was unclear if Mexico had the power to grant the request, but the door must always be left open when it comes to human rights, he added. The message, described as an SOS, was transmitted via one of Guzman's lawyers in the United States as well as his family. But what exactly happens inside the walls of ADX Florence that triggered this SOS message from one of the most ruthless and cruel drug lords in the world? According to SF Gate, ADX Florence is the only prison specifically designed to keep every occupant in near total solitary confinement. The facility takes up 21 acres of land, holding dangerous male prisoners who require high levels of security. In total, the prison currently has 344 inmates, with a maximum capacity to hold up to 490 prisoners. For at least the first 3 years at this facility, prisoners are not allowed to come into contact with other prisoners at any time, anywhere on the premises. Over time, good behavior can earn inmates more outside time, and for the most fortunate, a potential transfer back to a less secure prison can be possible. The outside time is actually a bigger cell with vaulted ceilings called the concrete pit or empty swimming pool. The majority of the facility is above ground, except for a subterranean corridor that links cell blocks to the lobby. Each Supermax prison cell has a desk, stool, and bed, which are almost entirely made out of poured concrete. There is also a toilet that shuts off if blocked, a shower that runs on a timer to prevent flooding, and a sink lacking a potentially dangerous tap. Rooms may also be fitted with polished steel mirrors bolted to the wall, an electric light that can be shut off only remotely, a radio, and a television that shows recreational, educational, and religious shows. The 4-inch 4-foot windows are designed to prevent inmates from knowing their specific location within the complex. They can see only the sky and roof through these tiny window slits, so it is virtually impossible to plan an escape. Prisoners exercise in a concrete pit that looks like an empty swimming pool. It is also designed to prevent them from knowing their location in the facility. The pit is only large enough for a prisoner to walk 10 steps in a straight line or 31 steps in a circle. There is no mess hall. Food is hand-delivered to each inmate by the correctional officers. The ADX Florence prison has a 3-year program that keeps inmates in their cells 23 hours a day for the first year, then gradually socializes them with other inmates and staff. In their last year, prisoners can be out of their cells from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and eat meals in a shared dining room, instead of having food delivered through a slot in their steel cell door. Each facility included in the FCC Florence complex offers various educational opportunities and numerous programs to the inmates. To educate the prisoners, programs such as the General Education Development Program, Adult Continuing Education, Adult Occupational Education, and English as a second language are available. Inmates can also take part in vocational training and parenting programs. Religious, food, recreational, medical, and mental health services are provided to the inmates at this facility. The recreational program, in particular, encourages an active lifestyle and allows inmates to take interest in new hobbies and activities. It lines up activities such as team sports, wellness instruction, and crafting for the inmates. Although these programs are available, prisoners are still under 23-hour lockup in their cells and have only 5 hours of recreation time each week. ADX Florence prison as a whole contains a multitude of motion detectors, cameras, and 1,400 remote-controlled steel doors. Officers in the prison's control center monitor inmates 24 hours a day and can activate a panic button, which closes every door in the facility, should an escape attempt happen. Pressure pads and 12-foot-tall razor wire fences surround the perimeter, which is patrolled by heavily armed officers. As an added level of security, laser beams and attack dogs guard the area surrounding the prison's outlying fences. Does El Chapo or any human deserves to be kept in such place? It's up for you to decide. Thank you for staying all the way to the end of the video. Please consider subscribing, liking and commenting to help me grow. See you until next time.